come here and contribute to what is hopefully another successful season at South Carolina. Same thing on the defensive side of the football. Yes, you're losing Kyle Kennard, who ended up being the most productive guy on your defense, but Dylan Stewart's only going to get better. And Dylan Stewart showed you so much in his freshman year, and rightfully so, got the NIL that I think everybody believes that he deserves, and what was enough to keep him around Carolina for the 2025 season. So if I'm Jaylen Brown, coming out of Missouri, who hasn't really played a whole lot, another high-caliber guy in the, from the high school ranks at least, I'm excited to want to play with a guy like Dylan Stewart, because I think that can elevate my game. Because guess what? When they're doubling Dylan Stewart, as we talked about the entire season, that opens up the lane for the guy on the other side. Or when they're opening up or doubling up the guy on the other side, guess what? That opens up lanes for for Dylan Stewart as well. So a lot of attractiveness for what the South Carolina team is in terms of trying to get guys out of the transfer portal to want to come play here, and we will certainly continue to follow that as time goes on in terms of what Carolina can ultimately end up landing when it comes to the transfer portal. I do have a little bit of apprehension when it comes to a guy in Boaz Stanley, and we talk a lot about Pro Football Focus numbers here. Just kind of referenced a moment ago what Terry Webb did with his past season at Texas State. You look at a guy like Boaz Stanley, interior offensive lineman out of originally Bogart, Georgia, played at Georgia Military College and ultimately ended up at Troy. He's played some tackle and he's played some center, and his numbers not the best overall in terms of the Pro Football Focus grades. Now, he was a little bit worse when he was out at that right tackle spot. Seemed kind of coming to his own a little bit when he started playing center, so there is some upside potential for that, but something I'm a little bit weary of, something you need to certainly keep in mind as he comes into campus and starts competing for one of those coveted interior offensive lineman spots. Yeah,
you're doing a fine job just blathering on as we try to figure out what's going on in the other room. Good work by you, sir.
Thank you.
And we're going through a little technical difficulty, and we're going through it. I know, really, and this will make a listener happy.
Sure.
We can't go to a commercial break right now.
No, we can't. You're getting exclusive access.
It's like in the old days. We're going 50 minutes commercial free. That's right, commercial free, 50 minutes.
Well, we're on 1075, 107-minute sports talk.
Sports Talk free ride.
Sports Talk free ride.
So basically, we're having an issue. We think it might be going back to internet. So our video stream right now is not kicking, and we cannot go to a commercial break. And since we're a network, we're also dealing with the affiliates in this whole situation. So while we're doing all that, while all that's going on, you're sitting here blathering. So nice work, sir.
Thank you.
And going back to our offensive lineman from Troy. Yeah, the Pro Football Focus numbers are better at center than they were at tackle. So that's the good news.
There's optimism there.
Yeah, there's good news there. Now, if you look at his numbers in totality, they're below 60.
Yes.
Whether it's run blocking, pass protection, overall blocking, his score for the season is under 60.
Yes.
But to your point, he was better once he got moved inside.
Yeah, so he started started 5 of the first 6 games at right tackle. I'm sure injuries or something was going on there.
Their starting center got hurt.
He started the Memphis game, which was game number 2, and then the back half of the season, final 6 games, proceeded to start at center there. And again, those numbers reflect as well. And here's the thing. People look at offensive line and just assume, well, you can play any position. You're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. You're blocking and you're, trying to push and open up lanes in the run. But every spot on that offensive line is vastly different. So a guy that's really good at being center may not make a great right tackle, and a right tackle may not make a great left guard, and vice versa. So some guys are just really good at certain spots. Some guys can be interchangeable. Some guys can be versatile. As we have some guys here that are really good at that. But it seems that Boaz Stanley coming in here to compete for the center spot, which is left behind by Rashawn Lee, who, again, a veteran guy, that's hard to replace. A guy that's been around, played a lot of college football, certainly going to feel his presence not be here anymore, and we'll see if Boaz Stanley steps up to the task for him.
And the other part of it is, to what you were discussing, the tackle positions, obviously a different skill set than playing guard or center.
Sure.
Now, again, can some guys pop out? And it's tougher for a guard to go play center, but play tackle than a tackle to move in and play guard. We've seen tackles who might struggle in some, like for an example, let's say there are tackles who don't have the feet to be able to handle speed or have the feet to be able to maneuver outside.
Because you got to be more athletic to be a tackle.
Yes, but you can move inside and play guard.
Yes.
guards are less athletic than tackles for the most part. So if you take a guard and kick him outside, that's very difficult sometimes for a guard to go. Now, some guards can. You can count them at times, guys who can pop out and play tackle from guard. I mean, Vershawn Lee held his own from center to tackle last year when they needed him.
Sure.
Guys do it, but it's rare.
Yeah.
It's difficult because the athletic skill set and the technical skill set is so different from playing inside to playing tackle. So maybe our boy Stanley just struggled outside at tackle, but he's more of a natural fit at the center position because of his skill set and his body type.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But look, adding veteran depth is never a bad thing, ever. So you add enough veteran depth on the offensive line. This covers you in case your young'uns aren't developing. And if your young'uns are developing, they beat out these veterans coming in. Oh, well,
Sure.
good.
Sure.
That's good. We learned 2 years ago that you never have enough offensive linemen.
No, you can. And look, Jack and I, and even Wes and Chris and I talked about it a little bit in the last hour, trying to figure out what this offensive line is going to look like right now is simply impossible. I think you lean towards Josiah Thompson at left tackle, probably being a consistent thing from last year. But after that, it's wide open. You have a guy in Tree Babalade. Does he go right tackle? Does he go left tackle? What does Xavier Shivers do? Marquis Anderson's been hurt. What does he do when he's finally healthy? You got guys like Cam Pringle and Blake Franks that were highly touted coming out of high school. How do they factor in addition to all these transfer guys? So it's going to be probably one of the bigger stories the entire offseason. And when, Wes, Chris, and all them get those little glimpses of practice, in early August, who's repping with the ones? Well, what's the depth chart drill look like? And we're going to dive into that and whatever that means, because this is going to be very important once again, because unfortunately this past year, you had the continuity you wanted on the offensive line. The play was better than it was the year before, and a lot of that had to do with injuries, but it still wasn't where you wanted it to be.
No, and and then we forget about our guy Parks, who came in from Oklahoma
he's
last
there too.
year.
Yeah.
What's going to be the deal there? You got a lot of pieces on this offensive line. You got 3 transfer portal guys coming in with experience to go with what you already have that you went over. I feel like Josiah Thompson will start at left tackle, and then we'll see if Kason Henry holds on to the right tackle spot. Do you look at Tree Babalade and see how he could maybe be at right tackle?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to see it. That's something that's going to be interesting to see, again, as the entire offseason ends up playing out for what South Carolina ultimately decides to do when it comes to those tackle spots. And again, this will be something that we're going to follow throughout the entire offseason. Of course, we are only a couple days away from the college football playoff returning with the semifinal games on Thursday night and Friday night. And Dave, do we have sound here? We good for sound, Dave? No? I'll check with that. Oh, looks like we might be a backup. Okay, things working back in progress here, but plenty of exciting things happening with the college football playoff. And I don't think we're going to get 2 good games, because I think Ohio State's just going to end up mauling Texas and proceeding to mauling whoever they play in the national championship. But one thing that has disappointed me in the playoff this year, and look, I was not for change. I wasn't against change. I just kind of accept whatever happens, because I'm going to watch college football no matter what the format is. But with the expansion of the playoff, I was excited to see more games. Unfortunately, out of the 8 games we've had so far, 7 of them have been stinkers, and only one's been good, that being the Peach Bowl with Texas and Arizona State. We'll dive into more of this as the show rolls along. Terry tells me we can finally hit a break, so we're going to do that. It's the halftime show. Tyler Head and Terry Ford on your Tuesday on The Game.